This migrant food.
With his tail wrapped tight, counting out the circles, sending souls to flight. Living carnival, another judgment day. Where you going, boy? Boy, you about to say, tail wrapped around with 2 times, 3 times more. Each loop decided which circle you explore. Got my carnival pass, bloody checking my stance. This is type of judge where nobody wins. Line up ticket loop, decide your fate. Wrapped in that tail, can't negotiate. Carnival for but I still got paid. Minnows to your roof, but he don't stay. Round and round.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Sunday. It's just gone 8 o'clock and it is the 1st of March 2026. Can you believe it? It's already March. It's crazy. Time just flies by. Feels like this year has been about a week long, to be honest. But welcome back, everybody. Episode 319. I am Drift Johnson. This is Scuffed Epoch. We're doing the inside line again. This will be the past week for the final week of February, even though it is March now. That's how that works. You have audio. That's good, because I can see myself peeking on the microphone. Hello, Furnicar, Battlecruiser operational, liked and subscribed. Now, where were we? He's telling me we have audio, which is great. Hello, everybody lurking in the chat, and to all you lovely people watching later, wherever you are, whatever time it is. All right. Like I say, it's the Sunday show. You see, I've been extremely busy with stuff. Is there anything secret on the screen? Yeah, it's all right. I'll get away with it. Hey, so like I say, thank you all for joining me for the Sunday show. We're going to take a whole bunch of different things. Basically, we're going to be covering all the stuff what I done since the last show last week. Pretty much. Give you the inside line. As you know, it's already in the Discord. If you want to check over on the Discord, we do have the inside line. The links are in the description. Please join us. We're often in there hanging out and talking about what we're all working on. And a lot of us, this is our full-time job. So, you know, come on in and see what's going on. It's a nice, quiet place at the moment. So let's just see now. It would be the 1st, so that would be the 23rd would be where we're looking at. So we would have spoken about all this stuff. 21st, 22nd. Okay, so I think the last thing I did was I finished React Tanks. So yeah, React Tanks 5. We may have spoken about this briefly. You can obviously play it at React Tanks 5. The link's in the Discord. I think what I did was I fixed a couple of things, but it's kind of like 95. This is 95% now. Full graphics, procedural open world, characters, 3D models all walking around. So now it's sort of like worth getting your teeth into something, if you know what I mean. So I am thinking about that, but really there's one last nut to crack, and that's the multiplayer nut. So we ain't finished with game development, not until we can crack that nut, because as I say, Gemini is now advertising that they can do multiplayer games in AI Studio with 3.1. They don't advertise that it's hard to get him to give you an answer, though. It seems a lot harder to use than it used to be. But there you go. So we did make the Sim Broker game, okay? And the Sim Broker game's actually pretty funny, okay? You open it up, you can do a free play round. You know, we could go and find ourselves some Tesla stock. Hey, how come it's doing fake data properly now? It wasn't doing that before. Well, anyway, is it because I've got an API key? No. Oh my god, it's actually doing it with the API key. What the heck? Look, this is real. Opens game that do you know what? I shelved this game because it didn't work, and you needed to have a paid API key. What the heck? Or maybe you put this on and you put that in and you put your API key. Because the thing is, the API key is $200 a month because it's like trading, right? No, it's not really working. This is the fake data. This is the fake data. So I doubt this looks anything like the Tesla. Let's have a look for fun. I doubt it's fake. It's not real. You know, it's like looking at a video game and seeing. 402. Yeah, see, it's totally wrong. Look, 242 it says. And it's actually at 402. So yeah, completely wrong. Anyway, interesting though. Do you know what I mean? I just saw this sort of, what's going on here? But yeah, don't worry about that. Put it on 5 years. 5 years ago it was at 200. It was at 200 in 2022 and in 2024. So if the model was trained around 2024, that would explain why he thinks the price is, it could have been at there, March 25. So if it's a year or 2 years old, it would think this. Look, It's a... Wait, where's 5 years? Do we have 5 years on here? This is not financial advice. This is a video game. Okay, so we're going from May. So what does he think? Oh, that's today. Yeah, that's not. So it went like this. So he thought that Tesla was just going to die from March 23rd. And actually it recovered big time. So yeah, in our simulation we're wrong. I'm not really too bothered about it. It's just a video game. It's not real. I just wanted to make it look as realistic as possible, so you can do all of the stuff. You know what I mean? You've got, I mean, the market's closed right now, right? So we're not allowed. But if I was gonna place an order and just place it, it'll come up like this. We can submit, and then it comes up in our book, and everything starts changing. But this is supposed to be a video game about trading. Unfortunately, the live data, which you need, because you can't really learn anything unless it's real data, but they charge a lot of money for that. So I decided to just shelve it for now. I might find an open source or an AI powered one. You know what I mean? It might be possible to find one that can do it, but it's a lot of data and they charge a lot of money for that. So anyway, it was a fun game, like I said, trying to make like a little stocks and shares trading simulator. Do you know what I mean? And it's got all the features, you know what I mean? It's got all the things. Got all the things. I got my one Tesla share for 242, and look, the market's moving, guys. Quick, sell your share, quick. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I need to sell that one share. I need to do it. Oh, there we go, I did it. How did that affect me? No idea. No idea, guys. So anyway, moving on to the next thing that we done did. Okay, get rid of that. Don't forget the Dragon's Heaven anime WAN lore is out. So that's there for WAN Magic. It's right there. You know, trigger is DXH anime. So what did we do after that? Do you know what? We need to go back to here. It's the easiest way to read it. So the next thing I did was VidVec. It was originally called Motion Vector. What's that? Where can I get a simulation that's deterministically based on a seed for me to play blindly? True. Make Zero Trader, which is totally driven by nothing. Yeah? I kind of like that idea, Fern. Maybe we make it a galactic stock market so I can just make it up. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't that be funny? That's actually kind of funny. Hang on a sec. Serious diversions on the show. Serious diversions on the show, but what are we here for? You know, what am I doing? So how about we have a look at that, right? So this would be the previous thing we were working on. So let's just go ahead and make ourselves a new project file real quick. This is the fun. This is what I should be doing every week. We used to do this every day. This was the bit I used to love the most. So we're going to call it... we actually have a backstory for this, don't we? The Galactic Bitcoin Exchange, remember? They all just want Galactic Bitcoin. Do you think that would actually be funnier? Galactic Bitcoin. No, it's not a diversion. It's not a diversion at all. It's actually funny. GBTC trade broker. We'll give it a sci-fi twist. I actually love it. The diversions are very valid. They need to be done. I mean, it's not all just like projects and dryness. Yeah, the game has to be converted to fit. Yeah, I think so. So we'll have to find the book, won't we? I bet it's in my archives on GitHub. But yeah, we'll do that in pieces. So anyway, VidVec is the latest app that I decided to make. It's actually got a sequel, VidVec 2. So we're not going to bother with it. We're just going to go straight to VidVec 2. But what does it do? It makes motion vectors based on my own formula. Yay! We built it from scratch with nothing. So there's also a live version which is running here. That's my hand. Okay. Wait a minute. Here's some warhammers moving around the table, yeah? We'll twist them a bit maybe. It's a different color depending on which way you go. And here we have, what's that, Baby Yoda? Can you see him? Probably not. Love it. So this works very well. So there we have. It's working really well. Get my little guy here. Oh, oh, oh. That would be an orc. That would be one of the boys. We'll leave that on in the background. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with that thing. But VidVec actually works a little bit different. VidVec is and has more features, you should say. Okay, so let's just go back to the inside lines. We've got VidVec, which is the original, VidVec Live, which is the webcam version, and then I improved them both. So you end up with stuff like this, which is pretty rad. Using Thora on the motorbike. And then this one from the more recent project. So it's just using some cool overlay stuff with my what it does is it visualizes the motion as vectors which are drawn as lines over the areas of the video which is moving, because MPEG-4 moves stuff around with vectors, and I wanted to expose it and use it for something. And then we just masked it off with a little bit of RemBG. In the process, I managed to find a RemBG version called ModNet, and it's super fast, like 200 ms. So that stacks nicely when you want to do a whole bunch of other stuff. So, you know, I swear by InspireNet, and I know there's faster versions, but if you want to do video animation and stuff and have like just something to do quick masking, it's a pretty cool open source solution which doesn't take up a lot of headspace. Let's see, let's take a look at clip crop. So clip crop. Moshed, no, let's get one that's good. We'll get one of these from the other day, yeah? So we got play pause. So then we have our little bit there. It's making the mech's mouth move. So we're going to take our input, and I'm going to take our output. So say I just want this bit. Maybe I want the bit where he turns his head to there. And then where does he start moving his head? Right here. So I'm going to go like there to there. And then maybe I actually want a 3 to 4. So I'll say, oh, I just want this bit. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe I just want to, really crop in on it. Like this, maybe. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Like that. And we'll lock it in. Now it does match source here, but you can also do a bit of upscaling. It's only Lanczos though, so don't expect it to get better. And then we're going to hit process. It's going to use local FFmpeg and or WASM with WebGPU. I don't really know. Who can really say for sure? Alright. And then it gives us the frames and it gives us the WebM. The reason I do both is because the WebM allows us to see that it works, and then the frames gives us compatibility, because sometimes the bit this isn't compatible. You like try to bring it into something else and it's somehow corrupted or something. I don't know. But who cares? You've got the frames. If you have the frames, you can reassemble them into any video format, so it doesn't matter. So there it is, guys. I call it DJZ Clip Crop. And the idea is you could probably embed this into any tool. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? So we'll close that now. Let's take a look at VidVec 2, because VidVec 2 had more features. Here we go. So VidVec 2, as you can see, it's got more features. It has auto mask persons, which is useful if you've got like dancing footage, and it should include the source audio as well. But I will say though, 0.25 is obviously faster. You can scale stuff because it is just like an overlay, you know. You will get more quality and more stuff going on with higher res, but it gets so slow, especially if you have everything switched on. So if you only have color burn 0.25 with no mask. That's the quickest. Put the color burn on, get slower. Make it bigger, get slower. Put the persona on, slowest. You see what I mean? And the reason is because of, you know, what's going on. It's actually doing like all these different things. So it's like quite a long workflow. I'm surprised I got it down to like, I think it's less than half a second a frame. So it's not really real time, but it is a lot better than we were used to do this sort of thing. So in we go. It looks the same, I know, as the original. So if I just take a picture of this, is that going to be... Can we get one with a person? Screw it, we'll just do this one. Alright. Now the nice thing about this is, when you're mucking about with it, we can put it onto, I like flow arrows. Sparse isn't on a grid. Sparse is wherever it actually sees movement, okay? But flow arrows is a grid, and obviously you can make the grid denser with the grid step. So smaller number, that's the number of pixels between each you know, grid node, right? I like 8, and I tend to put the line thickness to 1. But you can obviously mess around with this. Now, if I show you what actually this is doing here, the nice thing about this setup here with the version 2, you can just put it to a frame before you've started everything. Okay, and it should give us a preview. Oh, is it doing it? I don't think it's doing it. Is it because I forgot to check the box? Ah, yeah, there we go. I forgot to check the box. So that's what it'll look like with just color burn overlay for that frame. There we go. So now we can see it's going to look like this. So you can see all the stuff that's moving. Right? So if we just step back, so you can kind of get a preview because it's just really quickly doing each of these frames for us. It's not actually like processing it like video. It's just giving us like a step. And then that means we can muck about with this stuff and tune the various things. So see how you got way more detail. If I have it here, it's like quite spotty. Yeah, let's zoom in a bit more. Right, so you can see here it's like super spotty, you know, but you can see the lines quite clearly. Yeah, so obviously if I increase in fact take the color burn overlay off and it's just white lines, you see what's happening? It's showing us where the movement's going to be, and the direction of movement is the angle, and then the force of movement is velocity, or the velocity is length. Sorry, velocity is length. So if it's moving really quick, it'll move much longer. And anyway, so it's very, very cool. You can actually see the movement, like a bit like a pincushion, I guess. And then what the color burn, in fact, I'll do the two things. So color burn overlay puts the original image back under it, like a Photoshop blend. And then if you stick color by angle on as well, that's how I get this cool effect, which I like, you know. And then obviously by increasing the megapixel size, yeah, it's going to take longer to render, but you're getting more, they're almost like particles, I guess. It looks a bit like a volumetric particle cloud, but it's not. It's just lines being drawn from where things are moving. Now, if we had a person, we could do auto person. I think it's going to load the model. Can you see it loading behind my head? Oh, it's loaded. So I don't think it recognized the person. Let me check. Oh no, it did. It did. See that? So now it's masked out the person, and obviously we can invert the mask and we can have it go the other way around. So obviously the background doesn't really move much. But what I was thinking was you take off the color by angle so you get like normal stuff going on in the scene, especially if it's like, if we're going to pan and stuff, the background will be moving. If you're like following a character, when it's a fixed shot, you can't really see it. But if you're tracking something, so the background is all moving and the person's moving, what I would do is I would say, okay, we're going to do inverted no color angle for the background, so we get like a black and white effect going on, like Matrix CGI sort of stuff. And obviously you can shift that, you can color that anything you want because it's a separate layer. And then when it comes to the character, obviously we don't invert the mask, so we only get the person, and you have the choice. Do you want the original color or do you want the color by angle, which I would. I was thinking about putting in like you know, like blends. What do you call them? Like blends? so you've got different options for, you know, the gradient. But anyway, we'll just leave it on this one so you can actually see what it's doing here. And process. There's no audio source, so if it had audio, it would keep the audio. So as you can see, this is what it's doing. I've turned off the auto mask just to make it speed up, because it is quite a long... Well, it's not that bad. I do it with RemBG, I believe. But it's done with ModNet, like I said, which is super fast. I hadn't really used it before this project, so... But yeah, I just like this sort of... It's sort of ASCII-ish. So anyway, we get to keep the WebM. So let's look at the WebM. It should come out with the same frame rate as the original AI video. That was just an AI VO or something, right? Okay. So anyway, there's that. Moving on. And like I said, these are all things you can just go and use in your web browser. There's a whole bunch of things like that we brought out recently. Save TIFF is a comfy UI node. It will save into TIFF format for you. And then we also did an advanced version of that node as well, which is like, you know, based on a popular advanced save node, so you can save in uncompressed TIFF format. There's a couple of other things like the Adobe RGB profile, but apart from that, let's see, we did the VidVec Live update. So of course we're running the VidVec Live right here. Let's give it a... We got a mug. We got a coffee mug here. Let's see it. There it is. Got the coffee mug running in the in the webcam there. So moving on. All right. So we did something fun. I do write a bunch of Substack articles. And I decided it would be fun when we write the Substack article to write a website to go with the Substack article, if I can say that with a mouthful of jelly. The point is, this is based on new evidence. So new evidence comes out. I wrote an article on it, which was fun. I used Isaac to do the presentation of the actual article that got published. And then we have this flat filament, right? What can I say? They discovered the universe is not a sphere. I mean, hey, it's not really that, you know. Anyway, it's got all graphics this time, which is the cool part about it. It's less about the subject matter, because it is a fully fledged mini website for this new thing which they're going on about. But the point isn't so much about what it is, it's about how it was done. So this was done as one agentic team. So it didn't just make a Substack. He didn't, you know what I mean? He took my ideas and then I told him to support or challenge. Support or challenge my ideas, please, based on the article I just wrote or just read. And then here's links supporting my arguments and blah, blah, blah. And he's gone away and he's turned that into a grounding document, which is part of the new process. Hello, Dom. And so then what you do is in one shot, you actually get the full website. You get all of the image infographics for every page. Okay. And then you also get the Substack written by a consistent writer with the same persona every time. And you can go ahead and go ahead and read my Substack and tell me if you think it's consistent or not. I believe it is. I've been using the same writing team that I use on those projects. So it's as consistent as I can make it, and we've been doing this 6 months to a year now. So there's plenty of information, you know. But like I said, this is all based on the idea that the universe is actually flat. The universe is flat, and 3i Atlas was part of the confirmation. Okay, how is it coming in at such a sleek angle? Yeah. Anyway. It's very interesting, and I don't take credit because this is just cross-referencing new information which has been brought to light, and sometimes I feel like the news doesn't really do its job in that, and so I like to have fun grabbing things and going, ooh, we could write a little article, we could make a little website, we can make all the graphics for it, that'd be cool. And the joke is it takes half an hour now. What used to take a week to a month with a professional team is now a giggle and a cup of coffee. So this is the thing which I like to highlight. It's not really about whether you believe the universe is a sphere. It's about the fact that we can just pull this together at this level of it. In fact, I'm zoomed in super far. It should look like this. I'm looking at something here which is it's professionally presented. I was so zoomed in just then. It's professionally presented. All the information's here. All the references, you know, you can look it up, right? Here's all the details, look, and the supporting evidence, the challenging evidence, what people say, where the studies come from, Borg 2025. So the point is, it's very, very easy to just, it's not even rapid prototyping anymore, it's just rapid shipping. The thing is, you have to have an idea, a shape of an idea. So I think this is something called shape rotation as well, which is something you might want to look up. But anyway, back. Let's back up. So the point was the how, right? The point was the how. So, flat plasma. Next, we did DJZ VidGrab. Now, unfortunately, DJZ VidGrab can't be done in the web because it's a .NET C app, right? So that means this one is in releases. Okay, we're going to grab it from the portable. We're going to download it, we're going to run it, and then I'm going to show you what's broken about it. There's one thing that's broken about it, and that is that the audio seems out of sync. I need to fix that. I think it's because I never really told him what the frame rate was. And it does video on your desktop, you know, it's a video screen grab, video grabber. So as you can see here, we have the installation zip. If we unzip it, it's literally just the latest version of FFmpeg. You know, with a 300 megabyte .NET app. And the idea is it's going to sit in my tray, a lot like Careless, all the Careless hot tray apps. So it's going to go down the bottom. Give it a minute. It's not an MSI, I tell a lie. It's an EXE. Don't look at me. It was Bill's idea. Okay. So if I now open this up, I can show you some things. So you wouldn't see it, but Control F7, we have video quality, we have the audio, and the obvious to start with Windows that all .NET apps get. And then an output folder. Where do you want to put the outputs? All right, which is currently somewhere horrendous. Oh, it's in downloads for some reason. All right. And then obviously, if I just do Control F7, I get to drag a thing, let go of it. There's a little button to say stop, and then at a later time, you can't see my hot tray. I can come and click on the clip library. My mouse went mad. And now we can see we have a WebM. Yes, that's right, we're using WebM VP8. I think it's a nice format, guys. It doesn't take up all your hard drive space, and you can convert back and forth if you really love MP4. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you double click on it from here, or just open the output folder, and there it is. So, boom, and that is a portable video grabbing thing. Because the thing is, I use things like Yazo and all these other things, and they're all like trying to keep your data now with cloud stuff. And I think to myself, well, hang on a minute, I just wanted to get a quick clip on my desktop. I didn't really need to go all through all this rigmarole. So, local solution in .NET. All right. So that's what DJZ VidGrab is. It's another one of my Careless apps. I just didn't call it Careless yet. It will be called Careless VidGrab. All right, another app. What's next? Oh yeah, been meaning to get to it, but we've got a lot of video on the cutting room floor. Like a lot of the time, Steve just gets to sit behind the camera and do nothing. But I got him moving a boom everywhere, flying all over the place, so it's going to be great. So look forward to that. So now we go to the new skills, okay? So we're getting into the writer's stuff now. So the latter part of my week, in my own time, I've been trying to bring the narrative spittoon inversion into the new era. Because it was all system prompts based, which is great, because it converts into skill format. But it's very complicated. So we made some web services, and you could go online, write books, enhance your stories, even do the pacing flow adjustments. So I thought, step one, we need to turn that into a plugin, not a skill. Well, it is a skill in the plugin, but you know, a plugin. So it's a plugin for Claude Code. It writes the book. It does exactly the same thing as the website Spittoon Scribe, okay, which was a mimic of the lengthy manual process you used to have to do by creating all the bucket files, putting your last page and giving it my magic prompt and all this stuff, okay? Which is only like 1 paragraph long, by the way. It's not that magic, but you know what I mean. It writes the book backwards. That was the whole thing. So, first step, make the Scribe into a plugin. That's done. It's out. You can use it. Narrative Spittoon in version 4.0 is a plugin. It's already out. You can use it. It works great. You can write books with it. We even did a self-improvement round where it, wrote a report on its own. And I'm going to show you some of that in a little bit. But here's the thing. That's not enough. Because we've got Uno, Unified Narrative Operator, which is got like seven skills built in. And that was done for doubling the text, but with purpose, with a formula that we basically tweaked over a year. So I wanted to retain that, bring that into the new era. So what we've got now is we've got the NPO and the Uno skill. So that's Narrative Pacing Operator. He shaves things down for time or for reading, ease of reading, without loss of context, okay? Usually he does about 10-15% trimming depending on the strategy, but I won't get into it because we've covered it before, like last year. The point is, it goes Narrative Spittoon in version 4, write the book. Uno, enhance all of the output pages, and then that also includes a semantic echo with a narrative inpainting loop. So it does all of that for every page as it's going through it. It's crazy. So he makes it one way, and then he loops back through again, and then we get him to go back it another third pass using the narrative pacing operator. And those are both skills now. So the joke is you don't even need to do the plugin I've made is like a one-stop shop that orchestrates everything with an agentic pipeline. It's going to get released hopefully tonight. I'm just putting the last touches on it, you know what I mean? Because I think I've actually found a way to improve it, which we're going to talk about. I think I found a way to improve it in the process of making it and everything else, in the process of testing it. So that is the CARF system, the Character Authenticity Language Framework, which is an adaptation based on the underperforming Hollywood releases of late, and the Tarot Persona system, which I made for agents, because I made an agent, agent transformation or evolutionary capable tarot-based persona system. I thought it'd be a really interesting way to give them meaningful personas that aren't like, because when you make a persona, it's either an archetype like tarot, but it's got less depth. Because anyway, I thought it's an interesting system that we could borrow from, lend its power, as it say. But anyway, moving on. So we have the NPO skill, the Uno skill, and that leads us nicely to Narrative Spittoon in version 5 Agentic. Are you Agentic? So what I want to do, here we go. This is everything I just said. NSI 5 is an orchestrator. It chains 3 narrative processing systems into a single autonomous pipeline. You provide a lawbook.md, and it delivers a complete enhanced pacing or optimized story with no interaction. When I say no interaction, that's a lie, because you know how Claude likes to say, do you want to run this? Do you want to run this? Do you want to run this? So it depends how you use Claude. If you have it in autonomous mode with all the safety off, no, it'll just write the book and give you the page, you know what I mean? It takes about 2 hours, which I was surprised, but it does have to write the whole book and refine, expand the book and refine, then do error correction and resolution, and then it has to do pacing, and the pacing picks a pattern-based optimization. It's kind of crazy. Hello Zeus, welcome to the show. So as you can see here, this is actually the command. That's the command you have to type. Narrative Spittoon in version 5 Agentic skills NSI 5 pipeline and then the path to your file. That's it. So really it is, I know it looks complicated, but it's one slash command followed by a path to file. That's it. And so obviously that's kind of crazy in my opinion, because you can do all kinds of stuff with that. But I found there was a way to improve this, and that's by running your law book through my other skill. And we're going to talk about that real quick before we move on with the other one. So if I go back to my repos, 572. Here's the test study we're going to look at as well in a minute. Here's a new book I'm working on. Every chapter is going to get published for free on Substack. Don't blink or you'll miss it. That's all I'm going to say. One of the things I do is I'll publish all my books for free on Substack. And if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. But it will be printed. You know, I'm going to print the book. So 8 billion is what we're working on. It's like a human studies, I guess you could call it. Humanities, the humanities. It's going to be a really good book. The last one I did was counting the parameters. That's all about AI. This is all about the human race. So it's going to be, it's so much fun writing this book. I've got to do a lot of checks on it though, because I'm doing a lot of statistics and stuff, and I've given sources, but he's sometimes wrong. Like the stats actually changed since the publication, so I need to make sure they're all up to date. So that's a pain in the butt. But it'll come out as 11 substacks, and they will be literally word for word exactly what's going in the book, mate. Because that's how I do it. It's fun. I like doing it like this. Anyway. So yeah, it's like open source, but I still publish. It's fun. Anyway. So 8 billion. Looking out for that one. Narrative Spittoon version we were just looking at. Phoneme Live is an experiment. It's, a sprite sheet of mouths which you put over a face, and then when the microphone input comes through, it animates the mouth. Okay? I just wanted to see if we could make it live, without any pre-compute. I wanted to see if we could just do it live with JavaScript, because that would be funny. The problem obviously is the mouths don't match what you're doing. That's the problem. And this is why AI exists, to solve that problem. Anyway, so Unified Narrative Operator skill, we already explained what that one is. That's my Uno agent. Okay, it's a skill now, and you need that to run the big book writing pipeline. Narrative Pacing Operator, again, it's the Spittoon pacing. You can go and see the website. If you go to my website, scuffedepoch.com, there's the Spittoon collection for writing tools. They're all like websites that we've had since last year. They run on OpenRouter API key, but these are skills. So skills, you like Claude, there you go. So vidgrab public. I think what I've also started doing, guys, this one doesn't have the tins. What I've started doing as well is I've been releasing the EXE or the web live, so if there's a live web you can use, so you'll either have an installer, you can just run it, or you'll have a web link where you can go and use it on the website. And I didn't do it on this one, but that's just because I forgot. There's not, if I ever didn't put the tins plan, because what I do is I'm now going to be giving out the plans that were used to make the app. So I'm not giving out right. In 2026, I'm not delivering source code. I'm delivering plans. Okay? People pay me to make source code, but if I'm being honest, you only need the plans because your AI can do it, and I don't need. Do you know what I mean? I don't need. If the plan is good, you'll get the software, and the AI, whatever AI that you use, will make it for you. And as time goes on, this is going to become more the case, not less. And then it's like you're not tied to a platform, you're not tied to a model, you're not tied to a language even. You could say, oh, this was in Python, we're going to put it into something else. If it works, it works. I'm starting to become a little bit, we're going to cling to those principles, guys. The source is ephemeral, the plan is the source of truth. We can rebuild it. What, do you want it in Rust? Do you want it in Go? What do you want it in? It doesn't matter, because the plan can be rewritten, and then you can execute and have that new software written in whatever you want. The only limitation I found was I need a Mac to write Mac. But you can do it. It'll be easy to do. You just actually have to be running it on a Mac, because you can't compile Mac stuff without a Mac. as far as I know. Maybe one of you guys who's like more Mac Pro can tell me a workaround for that. I bet there is one, but as far as I know, you need a Mac to build Mac stuff, like the DMG installers and stuff. I think it's just easier if you actually do it natively on a Mac. And I don't have one at the moment, so maybe I need to save my pennies. But I've been buying cameras and drones and stuff lately, so it's all about production budget right now. Anyway, enough of all that. So if I get back to the stuff, let's get back to the stuff. So we talked about flat plasma, we talked about clip crop. Yeah, we talked about clip crop. In fact, you know what? I bet if I go into clip crop, there'll be a plan. Yeah, there you go. Look, boom, there it is. DJZ clip crop. So you know the app we were just looking at, clip crop. Well, we put a video in, and it lets us do the clock crop and all this stuff, lock it in and save it, all of that. Web GPU, WASM style, right? What we're going to do here is I'm going to give you the plans. So here it is. That's everything you want there. That's the whole thing. It's a lot like a PRD. I see a lot of people saying PRD, but we didn't do PRD. We went down the wrong, we went down a different path. Yeah, we went down the wrong path, yeah. We took the left fork. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just different. It's basically very similar, but different. The method that we did was more like skills, you see. And that's why all of my stuff just converts straight to skill, because technically it was what we were already doing. All I had to do was add front matter to the top. It said this is to say name, description, license. That's all I had to do. There was no changes required. So it does mean that a lot of my old stuff, you can literally just call it skill.md. You obviously need to put the header, the front matter. But that's a small thing. Anybody could do that in Notepad. It's like dash, 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 name, description, license, MIT, dash, 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 done. You put that at the top, done, you know. Anyway, so this is obviously the full development plan with all the features, every single little thing. Look, megapixel resolution selector, you know. And you could say, like, if this is a difference as well. It's not generic. You know, these here are valid. Well, except for that one. They're not valid. Selecting a ratio constraint. Anyway, the point is, it's got a bit more because obviously I've asked for what I want. Like, it's not a bunch of generic nonsense. So it should work really well. Like, for example, if you have a big video, it's going to split it up into multiple zips. It's not just going to crash out. Stuff like this. So here we go. The happy path. What's this? The happy path. You should have called it the unhappy path. I've never seen him do that. Follow the happy path, guys. Okay. Close that. What's this? We already got it. It's running. Posed dev. So I've made a new white guy tool with modern tech. I mean, hopefully it's good enough to pass the sniff test. We'll see, won't we? I feel like I'm going backwards and forwards here. Here we go. We caught up. So RTanks 5, Sinbroker, VidVec, blah 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 blah. Good. We've caught up. So now we can talk about the test study. So for this test study, what I've done for Writers Club, everybody, we're going to do a Writers Club finish. So 3X is one of my sci-fi stories. Zeus says, damn, I didn't know Mac software was locked this hard. Oh, mate, they solder the RAM in. They're hard. They go hard on locking their stuff. It does Mac. I think it's a £10,000 investment if you want to become part of their service network. But anyway, that was a long time ago. It may have changed since then. So, Narrative Spittoon in version 5, 3X test study. So 3X is the theme. I have a law book which I use to write those stories. It's all clearly defined. It will be the same book being written multiple times with different seeds, you could say. So you're going to get a different story every time. And so in order to objectively review this, I'm using 3 of my literary agents, Orson Welles, Isaac Asimov, and my holographic tutor in the V2 version, which I did manage to finally track down, and you definitely want that. But the point is, we have Alpha, Beta, and Charlie. Now, Alpha was done 2 days ago, Beta was done last night as a result, because what I did Alpha, and using the feedback from the process, not the story, from the process, we used that to make changes to the actual plugin, to the pipeline. And that helped iron out a lot of problems in the first version. So with that being updated, we did the second story. Now, what the second story identified was that there was some shortcomings in my lore book. Like, the lore book I was using had blind spots that were affecting its potential, right? And so what I did was, rather than change the tool, I changed my input. So Alpha and Beta used the same input, but Beta has been refined as a result of the feedback from running Alpha. So this is just a standard sort of development thing, really, but by the time we get to Charlie, it's the same as Beta, but it's got an improved input. Now, how did I improve the input? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. I did it with calf. So if I go to Scuffed and I type /calf, it should just come up like that. Right. And for anybody that doesn't remember, let's just quickly cover where this comes from. Because I wanted a way, because the thing is, AI is very logical. And I needed a way to make him have some emotional quotient. We needed some EQ up in here, okay? All of the characters were flat, you know? Like, even if I try to put depth in, he doesn't get it. And the reason he doesn't get it is because there's no framework. And so what I did was I thought, how about we create a system that can use tarot to enhance persona creation? Okay? So it's a pretty simple concept. We borrow from the ideas of tarot, which are well understood and trained in the model. I think we can all agree on that. You know, the AI knows what it is, doesn't he? So I'm like, remember tarot? Yeah, now make the characters. You see what I mean? I don't want him to use heavy-handed references to the tarot system. I just want him to respect the concept of transformation, which can be applied to narrative, like the Fool's Journey. So now it's not just the hero's journey, okay? It could be the star's journey, or the emperor's journey, or the lover's journey. And this kind of... Anyway, he's good at making it work, yeah? So this was pretty cool. It was a way of being able to give persona depth, right? Which is really cool. It gives you an arc as well. But this was only really for making characters in stories and or agents that you want to talk to, like a persona that you want to interact with, right? To try and give some depth beyond stereotypes, you know, like a more complex character design, because we're borrowing from the 3-card system setup. It's got a primary, secondary, and court card. Anyway, so that's kind of like, should have blown that up, shouldn't I, huh? So that's kind of where this is coming from. Just trying to give more EQ reference to the engine. So from there, what I did was I made that part of Calf. We talked briefly about Calf earlier, but the thing is, Calf actually is a skill. It's not just a theory. It's not just a theory. Here I am quoting Harry Seldon. So, again, the degree to which an audience unconsciously recognize their own internal experience in the character, the structural role the character performs within the story's architecture, the historical, social, cultural environment that shaped the character gives traits meaning, and the distance between the audience and the character's ideal that creates perpetual gravitational pull, the aesthetic and sexual dimension and of character design evaluated by contextual coherence rather than moral judgment. In other words, it's not going to get obsessed with the fact that the sexy woman is wearing sexy clothes, because that actually logically makes sense. And so we end up with a character integrity formula, which then has a cascade effect. This is a really cool skill. And so we can go over and we can check out the skill. So here we have it on GitHub. Okay, and here is the Substack, Why Characters Die and What the Numbers. It's actually an incomplete title. What the Numbers Know. Hidden Physics of Flashbang. Sorry about the whiteout, guys. I will return in a minute. So if you go ahead and check these out, you'll get more understanding on what the hell is going on with the madness here. What are you doing? What's this thing? YouTube. Oh, I see. I see what's happening here. Oh. See, there was. I told you it was orcs. I wasn't lying. I wanted to go back, actually. You can't. You're not allowed. That's why it all went wrong, guys. The button doesn't go back. Okay. So, Calf is an advisory Claude skill that assesses and enhances creative plans. So, in other words, you can take a law book. You can put the law book in and he'll write you a new law book, right? With all of this in mind. Now, I would always recommend being the human in the loop. It's your book that you'll want to write. So whenever you have an agent do any kind of writing or enhancement, read it, because all you've got to do is strike it off. I think of it like when you're signing a contract. You really want to read it and at least strike off the stuff you don't agree with. Otherwise, what are you even signing for? You know? So this is a good idea. But as I say, Calf is an advisory skill that assesses and enhances creative plans or law books using the principles of character authenticity language framework. It's a structural, psychologically grounded diagnostic for why characters work and why they stop working. It's aimed at giving you this depth. Okay, I'm lending you the power of Calf. Okay, and then you can have a golden bull one day. So, Calf runs a structured diagnostic across 5 core dimensions: archetypal resonance, narrative coherence, world coherence, aspirational architecture, and context integrity. Okay. For every submitted plan, it outputs a project name README Calf containing a tarot continuity map, each character's primary card at each narrative phase with a continuity verdict, a load-bearing element audit, every structural problem the characters carry, what it enables and what it breaks if it's removed. For example, you can't have your hero become a depressed alcoholic in the 4th movie. Doesn't make any sense. Although, hey, maybe you're just trying to subvert expectations. World Coherence Report flags any contemporary norms imported into history or culturally specific worlds. Again, if you're making heroes of, what is it? If you're making Heroes of Might and Magic, the movie, it doesn't need to be anything to do with the modern day, does it? Like, you don't need... It's a fantasy world. People want the fantasy. They don't want modern politics and things like this. You see what I mean? So I think we've learned that in the last 10 years. Aspirational architecture identifies aspirational vacuums where idealization has been collapsed. Do you know what? When I think about it, I actually preferred the obvious product placement of the 90s where, like, Batman has a Coca-Cola hat and stuff. I know I'm being heavy-handed myself, but I actually thought that was better. Anyway, I want that back. Scored assessment across all 5 dimensions. So there we have it. There we have it. And here's what's inside the Calf skill itself. So for the final test, we used the Calf Enhanced Lawbook. All right. So if I go ahead and look at the Calf Enhanced Lawbook, you'll see the difference. Well, I mean, I haven't shown you the original, I guess, but you'll have to imagine the original is not as good. So here it is. Lawbook has been assessed and enhanced using the Calf Character Authenticity Language Framework in direct response to the triple review. So there's me being with the sorcery. So I didn't just run the skill. So let's just back up a little bit so we can be fair. So when we did the beta, we finished writing, and then what I did was I took all of the final pages from the book that we'd written, and I put each of them into an agent that's loaded with the holographic tutor, Isaac, and Orson. That's my triple literary agent team, okay? And so I've given the full story to each of these, okay? And these guys are like, fully separated system. They're fully separated agents. They're not running on the same thread or anything like that. So we run all these guys, and they give me these reports. Okay, so I said review my story, right? Same prompt for each agent, same input files. He's given me these 3. And then what I do is I open up just a standard Claude chat, so Sonnet 4.6, nothing special. I give all 3 reviews, and I say, my 3 literary agents have reviewed my book. Write a triple review on the reviews, okay? So that gives us the triple review. Now in the triple review, it's going to tell us a bunch of sycophantic stuff, because, you know, they love to tell you how much of a great job has been done here, all right? Hollow got a 91 on the B, on beta. Beta was actually written really well. So, yeah. But anyway, the point is, beta came out really well. I was really surprised by it. And also, it's incredibly consistent. It always has been. No matter what I'm doing, it's like 87, 87, 91. That's crazy. Like, the last one was 87, 87, 88 or something. That's good. I mean, if anything, it speaks to the review system I'm using, I guess. But they are different. So each agent is scoring from completely different dimensions, and we still arrive at about the same score. So we're doing this from a college graduate level. So yeah, it says the 4-point gap between Hollow and the other 2 is not a disagreement about quality as much as a difference in weighting. Hollow scores character development at 24 out of 25 and world building at 23 out of 25. Orson's equivalent assessments is higher than Orson's assessment, but Orson docks more heavily on setting and world construction, which was 6 out of 10, which is the single most critical individual category score across all 3 reviews and represents Orson's sharpest divergence from the other agents. It's just quicker to assess reviews like this. It's just quicker. If you want to drill into the full review, you still can, but this gives you the ultimate overview. So this is what they go on about, everything that's great. That's cool. Lots of stuff to say that's great. Even more stuff to say that's great. And here we go. Consensus concern, right? Pacing. This one scene moves too fast. The briefing room scene, too fast. Okay? So that's 1. Middle pages, circling versus spiraling. So here we go. The genetics alcove scene repeats the threshold calibration insight across 3 beats when 1 would suffice, creating the sensation of circling rather than spiraling, returning to the same point at the same altitude rather than higher. The Vasquez-Fenn spine junction meeting and the Sable stack scene both resolve with a version of the same narrative action, initiating disclosure, creating rhythmic redundancy. So you know what that means, right? He's done the same thing. He's done the same reveal twice. This is like a form of echo, which is hard to spot because it's contextually different. He doesn't know to get rid of it. But you know what the funny thing is? If you were just reading your book, you'd immediately spot it. And you'd say, I'll get rid of one of them. Just by delete. It's all about the cut. All that's left is the cut. An aggressive cut to this draft will be ready for production. Ready for print. Okay? And hopefully I'll be able to put some money where that mouth is soon. We'll see. Like I said, I'm still working on it, but I'm very happy with it. So, and also, I will say, the plugins are out and the skills are out. I'm just working on an orchestration pipeline to make it an agentic one-shot. That's all. And then it's up to you what model you use, because in theory, skills and plugins can work with other systems. They could be adapted to open code, and then you can break free of Claude. But that's a choice. So I leave that to other people who want to fork the code. I've shown how to do it. So, you know, if I was to do it every time, it would be like, yeah, I'm not running. Yeah, contact me. I'll do anything you want. So section 5, areas of meaningful divergence. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to skip down. So we have, look at this. The weakest characterization. All 3 reviewers note she arrives late, must accomplish too much too quickly, and functions more as an institutional authority made thoughtful than a fully individuated person. Oof, that's scathing. So, what the story is arguing, autonomous system assessment. So here we go. This is the bit I was looking for, but remember, this is the beta test, okay? So, Given this draft was produced by an autonomous creative writing system, the try-review offers a set of implicit findings about system performance that merit separate acknowledgement. What the system demonstrably achieved: recursive thematic architecture across 6 perspectives with a single central metaphor operating consistently at every narrative scale. Distinct linguistic registers for 5 point-of-view characters differentiated by syntax, rhythm and vocabulary rather than simply by content. Sensory world building without info dumping. The ship is inhabited before it is explained. An ending, page 5, that all 3 human equivalent reviewers consider exceptional. Prose that earns comparison by 3 independent agents to Le Guin, Robinson and Becky Chambers. What the system has not yet solved: social texture. The lived culture of 300 people navigating a known shortened lifespan is absent. Institutional motive. The system that failed has human architects whose implied reasons are unaccounted for. By the way, this is all in like lore that isn't part of the story. It's kind of funny. But, he is right. He is right. Because there's a prequel and there's like a prelude. There's like other books that come with the book. But if you ask me, it's a crutch. Do you know what I mean? To have like a book and then be like, it would be like writing Alien and then writing a prequel to explain all about the history of Weyland-Yutani. You shouldn't need to do it, because we would learn that in the movie, wouldn't we? Or it's mysterious enough that we're okay with it. Okay, late draft emotional landing. Page 4 accelerates when it should hold. Character cost, Sable's exclusion, Fenn's reporting decision, and the encrypted module are all resolved without visible residue. Prose ticks, particular. The noun that was not X but Y, and an occasional self-conscious rhythmic checking. That's probably where we've been I haven't done any typo stuff, so it's all just echo reduction, because interesting. I wonder if there's a scraping left behind from the echo and the inpainting. I never thought about that, because if you remove an echo in sound, it does leave something behind, like a wake. So overall system verdicts across all 3 reviews. The NSI 5 beta system is producing a literary quality first draft material at a level that's ready for serious revision but not ready for submission. So let's just come down here, consolidated revision checklist. So all 3 reviewers say expand page 4, address the middle page redundancy because it's repeating itself. Give Sable distinct. So look, it's given me 5 things to change. This is what I call actionable review. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's given me the book. So I gave him all the rules. I gave him all the characters, the world, the concept, everything. I gave him everything. He went away and he wrote the book for me. I'm looking at it and there's like 5 things I got to change. There's like 5 things I got to change. This is like a dream. But anyway, if we just keep going here, what I've done is I've taken this report, okay? I took this report, and then I combined it with the craft skill and the original law book that was used to write this book, okay? So then, when we get back to Charlie, which is the latest one, okay? When we get back to Charlie and we look at the law book that we actually used in the end, now we see what the hell that means. That's why I had to go off and tell you what all that means. So the law book that we used for Alpha Beta, that was to refine the system. And then in Charlie, we refined the law book. So we used the character authenticity language framework skill to upgrade our law book here. Okay? All right. And then we've also included the triple review from beta. So then we know what all the weak points were. So we've given him, look, it's funny. We wrote the book, had it critically reviewed by 3 people, and then just said, right, bin it. But take those ideas and make the plan better. Write the book again completely from scratch. So it's same people, same place. The ship name changes, I think. I think every time we do this, the ship name changes, but everything else is the same. It's really cool. It's almost like you get another Alien movie. Well, a different ship. It's the same people, though, which is kind of weird. But anyway, It's because I've defined their names. They're not just random. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we're giving it this cross-referenced against the triple review beta report. So the original 3X law book is a scientifically rigorous world-building document that establishes a credible hard science fiction premise. Its core engineering and biological systems are well conceived. However, it suffers from a critical calf failure. The world is built from the outside in. The technical architecture is present, but human architecture is largely absent. Characters who live and die within this world have no visible culture of response to the central fact of their existence, a known accelerated lifespan. Just a bit of thing, 3X. They live 3 times shorter. It's good for space. So anyway, you know, that's part of the story. It's part of the story. They're modified for space. One of the modifications for space is a shorter lifespan during space travel, and then they like unlock the gene code to make you go back to normal when you get to the other end. That's the idea. It's good for birth rates, apparently. Wouldn't you know? Anyway. Okay, so accelerator that breaks the narrative coherence and world coherence simultaneously. Additionally, the institutional systems described in the law book and dramatized in the story, the registry, the correction protocol, threshold management, have no attributed motive, rendering the story's antagonist structure archetypal thin. These are not failures of conception, they're failures of completion. So it literally maps it out for me. Why? You see? It's literally like, I thought I had a cool story, but the weak parts are literally laid bare by that system. So I don't, you know. Dimension 1, archetypal resonance. Lawbook defines characters through role and function, not through archetypal engine. The following mapping is derived from the lawbook's role descriptions cross-referenced with the story's draft characterization. These maps represent the intended arc as derivable from both documents. So, in this sense, Dako Ose now gets Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords, and Knight of Pentacles. Okay? And the thing is, you can argue about whether tarot is going to be useful, but I would say that this is going to have an interesting effect in giving it some spice, right? Because now it's drawing on some kind of system. And again, I'm not like, I don't own a tarot deck or anything like that. I just know that that's exactly what this is about. It's a system of character depth and transformation potential. Okay. It can also be quite ominous as well, you know. So anyway, continuity intact. So then we get Vasquez. She is the high priestess, tending reversed, and then the hermit upright. Earned withdrawal, the elder transmitting hard-won wisdom at the limit of her available time. Interesting. Sable is Page of Swords, Ace of Swords, Eight of Swords, Knight of Swords. I don't know why she gets 4 cards, but I don't know what tarot is. So, you know, I understand it, but I don't play it or whatever. Dr. Fen, Queen of Swords, 2 of Swords, Justice, and 7 of Swords. Obviously, we can read all of these in much more detail. So, Queen of Swords, Justice, 7 of Swords is a coherent arc of an intelligently rigorous character navigating the gap between what she knows and what she is permitted to do. Flag, World Rupture Minor. Fenn's decision not to report the correction protocol carries no visible institutional cost in the draft. In the world the lawbook establishes a tightly regulated closed system with formal monitoring architecture. Individual deferral of a mandated report should trigger system response. The world's actual rules are not being applied. You see how he's calling me out? This is what I'm saying. It's such a good system. I love it when I make a system that's better than me. Because this is the thing. It's better than me. I can analyze my writing and it will poke holes, go, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But it'll tell me why. And it makes sense. That's the thing that I like about this the most. So if we look at Captain Wren. Briefing room, page 4. Card the Emperor, upright constrained. Just ruler. Hold structure so others can act within it. The 3-second deliberation rule is the Emperor's governance philosophy in miniature. Decision to reframe as pattern management. Card the Emperor. Polarity upright. Authority deployed wisely. Institutional power choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. So continuity intact with the Emperor family, but the arc is a flat line rather than a curve. Ren does not move with the narrative pages available. She's introduced and immediately used. Flag, aspirational vacuum. Ren currently performs no aspirational function. She's institutional authority made competent, which is necessary but not sufficient. Her aspirational geometry, what she represents that the audience might move toward, is absent from the lawbook entirely. Her 3-second deliberation rule gestures towards something worth aspiring to. Measured authority, the refusal of panic as institutional practice. But this is not developed. Recommendation: lawbook should establish Ren's backstory and the specific institutional pressure she routinely absorbs to protect the people below her. The aspirational geometry requires that we understand what she costs herself to remain who she is. It's quite a lot to say, but like I said, this is much better than what I had before. What I had before was, she's the captain. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it wasn't quite that basic, but... So the point is, this is way more complex in depth. You're looking at like a diamond now, where you were looking through a piece of glass before. So this is nice. And there's more. There's narrative coherence, load-bearing elements. And if we keep going, world coherence, world rules, okay? And so yeah, external norm audit, aspirational architecture. We keep going, and then here we have the enhanced version, okay? And then, where is it? Massive scale, Calf edition, here we go. This bit got added. I love how he's like literally just added it. But yeah. A character who is 14 biologically, roughly midlife. They have already chosen their vocational track and begun serious professional development. A character who is 25 is elder. A character who is 28 is exceptional for still being active. No character in this universe experienced time in the way a baseline human does. They have always known their timeline. They were told as children, gently, as a ship cultural norm, not as a crisis disclosure, what the numbers meant. So yeah. Yeah, apparently it's something to do with radiation as well. I think it's helped with, because if you don't live for 70, 80 years, you can get away with exposure to more radiation. There's all kinds of there's so many really good reasons for short lifespan good. They may have an increased metabolism somehow as well, so it's not fully explained. I'm sure it comes with perks, Maybe you're a little bit smarter, who knows? Cognitive, yeah, here we go. Cognitive acceleration, right. But there are trade-offs. Young genes preferentially expressed in early human brain development. Okay. Calf, see, is added to my law book, right? Do you know what? I might have to write this book again just purely because I've just realised that I only need half of this law book. What is it? Yeah, all of this I could have removed from the law book. I could have removed all of that, and it might affect the story, which I don't want, but we'll see. But I think you can see that he has added a whole bunch of additional stuff. What's this? Commercial risk assessment. What? See, I don't need that. Do you know what I mean? I don't need that. But yeah, as you can see, it's added all this stuff. The 3-phase life framework, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The gallows culture, dark humor. Running baseline, already past it, still counting. They have a lot of their... The still counting is the three's equivalent of not dead yet. A common greeting among people in phase 3. So they say, I'm still counting. Because they die before they're 30, It's interesting. A person who did not have their practice is understood to have been robbed. Oh wow, so someone that gets killed early, it's like they were robbed of life. Yeah, interesting. And then practice deaths are less rare, mourned with a specific ceremony. So that's where they actually lived a full life. They were in practice for 100%. And then passage deaths. What are those? What are those? People closest to the deceased are given time to say what was received. Oh, I see. They get to say something. They get to say a passage. On passage of the person. Man, it's so poetic. What am I going to do? See, I only hinted at stuff like this. I didn't define it. You know what I mean? I didn't define because the thing is, everything is done in threes. So I probably said it once, and then he's applied my everything must be in threes. I love it. Age reading. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, so we wrote the story anyway. Let's get to it. So if we get to the story, we can read the final review. So this is like, we've written the whole thing. We've got a whole new bunch. This is review 3 from Hollow, Isaac and Orson. So we go to the triple review. And this is what we get. I don't know why his name is Orson A. Blackwood III. For some reason, he's invented his own name again. Asmovian methodology and MFA graduate level. Okay. 6-page complete. That's chapter, not page, because how long is a page? Generation ship narrative. And it was written today. The report synthesizes 3 independent literary reviews of the 6-page draft currently designated Threeks, produced by the NSI 5 Charlie Autonomous Creative Writing System. Each reviewer assessed the manuscript from a distinct critical posture. Orson, from the tradition of a seasoned private critic, high standards, moderate sentimentality and decisive. Isaac, from the Le Guin-inflected science fiction tradition of serious epistemic inquiry. And Hollow Tutor V2 from an MFA-level structural and craft analysis perspective. Where the 3 reviews agree, the findings may be treated as robust. Where they diverge, divergence itself is informative. All 3 reviewers received the same 6 pages. No reviewer had access to the other's assessments. Important. They're not working in the same team, guys. Yeah, they're like in different buildings. So aggregate scoring. Hollow gave 87 out of 100 with no breakdown. Isaac doesn't really rate world building because it's part of thematic. And Orson gave me 8 out of 8 for world building, but the rest is like different numbers, which is weird. Okay, it's cool. So the spread 81 to 87 is meaningful. Orson, Hollow converge on 87. Yes, okay. Meaning the manuscript achieves its ambitions at the level of execution. Isaac's lower score of 81 reflects a harder accounting of thematic completeness and world-building precision, a view that the manuscript's ambitions, whilst achieved stylistically, remain partially unrealized at the level of intellectual and structural follow-through. Okay, so let's drill into that, shall we? Okay, let's skip. So, wow. Okay. Orson describes this as the Wolfian interiority deployed not for decoration but for epistemic argument. Isaac calls it structural achievement that separates literary fiction from merely competent prose narrative. Hollow confirms the evaluation at prose mechanic level. Sentence structures are genuinely varied. Writer moves between long accumulative sentences with short declarative ones with control. The sensory world of the ship receives uniform high praise, differentiated cold across locations, recycled air, archive and dome glass, the drive hum as bone knowledge, the diurnal light cycle, amber white as social grammar. All 3 reviewers single out these examples of world building that operates through sensory accumulation rather than exposition. Point of shared concern. Every reviewer independently identifies the same rhythmic risk. Orson frames it as the conductor becoming visible. When every moment of understanding arrives through body before the word, the pattern becomes its own form of telling rather than showing. Isaac is more clinical. The voice discovers something, then explains that it discovered it, then explains the significance of the discovery. Hollow quantifies it. By the fourth or fifth iteration of the body before mind arrival, it risks becoming mechanical. This is the manuscript's single most agreed upon revision target. The technique is not flawed, its frequency is. Strategic variation, moments where body and language arrive simultaneously, would preserve the technique's power through contrast. Additional concern: over-explanation after demonstrated scenes. Isaac, primary, Hollow, secondary. Isaac identifies a recurring pattern in which the narrative explains what the scene has already shown, citing page 3. Echo hollows this as a threshold of legibility concern. Orson is less troubled by this, suggesting the prose mostly trusts itself, though he makes the same point structurally when he recommends cutting page 5, anthropological gloss. Lexical ticks. Hollow alone is in conducting a formal semantic audit. It flags specific as an overused intensifier, the specific indifference of light, the specific discipline of a surface, and landed as recurrent metaphor for a statement finding its mark. The filing cognitive metaphor, Deco files information, holds things under things I'll understand later, is noted as intentional but worth monitoring in a longer work. None of these are fatal. Hollow recommends targeted reduction rather than elimination. Okay. I'm going to skip the character study because it's going to be very long. They're going to go through all the different things. Pacing probably... Oh, wow. The strongest opening chapter I've read in recent memory. It's such a shame, isn't it? Do you know what I made? Do you know what we should do? We should release them all. What? They're clones. You can release them all. They're all on different ships. Anyway. It almost seems like a waste, you know? It almost seems like a waste. That's my issue. Right. Page 5 done. Essential structural disagreement. Okay, let's keep going. Keep going. Thematic depth and coherence. So what they agree on, and then he'll say what they all don't like as well. Incomplete integration. Correction protocol described as having downstream effects across generations, possibly generating the drift it was designed to prevent, as potentially the story's most interesting complication, introduced on page 2 and then dropped. Hollow does not specifically address this. Orson references the open questions in aggregate but does not isolate the correction protocol. If the protocol is in Fenn's concern space on page 2, it should be an active conversation with the Marin file and his Deco's cross-reference work. Its absence from page 3 and 4 is a structural discontinuity in the thematic argument about institutional knowledge and its failures. Do you know what it is? The story's written backwards. So that means that he actually wrote the next page first. So if he brings something up and then it's never brought up again, it's because actually that concept came after the fact, not before, because time is backwards. So, yes. So that's probably a job for the narrative inpainting machine, I believe. Okay. So in other words, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that inside Uno there is a narrative inpainting feature, and so it is actually possible to feed these problems back into it. But like I said, I want to try and do stuff. I like doing it myself, really. But you could just feed it back into itself. I mean, that's how they're doing all the code, right? That's what a validation agent is. Yeah, that's what code review is. So, do a code review, write me a to-do list or a task list or whatever you want to call it, and then execute it and then validate it, and you just keep going until everything's working. Until you get a high score. So let's keep going. So here we go. Look, consolidated revision target. So even if I just took this as my hit list, this is what I'm going to sit down and muck about with, Okay, critical divergence. 81 versus 87 gap. Yeah. So I want to get down to the bottom. Right. Okay, the system performance. This is the bit I'm interested in. So this draft was produced by NSI 5. It's not called Charlie. It's just NSI 5. Charlie's the name of the folder that I put this draft in, okay? All three reviews taken together provide a useful assessment of the system's current output quality. Prose voice and sensory specificity, consistent, controlled, and individual. Thematic coherence across multiple parallel plot lines. Character differentiation through behavioral signature rather than description. World building through accumulation and context. Structural sophistication. Sweet architecture, epistemic pacing. Where it shows limitations. Tendency towards explanatory passages following demonstrated scenes. Over specification of its own effect. That's Uno. Because what Uno does is he looks for a scene that doesn't have a description, and then he, in context, decides, they were all in a church. I'll start describing the stone walls, because church has got stone walls, right? No one's talking right now in this church scene. I'll describe the light coming through that stained glass window, because we're in a church, right? That's what Uno does to double the length. He doesn't just double what's there. He adds a bunch of, he goes, you didn't describe the scene. I'll describe the floor. And then the character looked down at the wooden floor, and the wooden floor was creaking. It's like, that wasn't there, but he put it there. That doubled the length. You see the trick? It's descriptive information that's missing. And the reason we're good at this is because it's all image generation stuff when you think about it, right? It's like, if I take a man in a room, what room? Do you know what I mean? If you type a man in a room into a prompt enhancer, you know what it's going to say, don't you? It's going to times 10 the length of the prompt, right? It's going to go, a man with grey eyebrows and white hair and a rigid expression. It's going to really go hard on every single possible thing. And so what I did was I said, here's a bunch of rules. You're not allowed to change the speech, because obviously the speech is pivotal. You know what I mean? You can't just go changing the speech. So the speech can't change, like in a stage play. But you want to spend 10 minutes describing a backpack, which some writers do. You want to spend, who was it? It was the military guy. Grisham? No, it wasn't him. It was one of the military writers. He spends 8 or 10 pages describing a backpack. Yeah? So it's sometimes they do it to show off, but what I'm trying to say is, if you have a story which is Tom and Bob walked into a bar, ordered a beer, drank it and left, you didn't describe the bar, you didn't describe what they were drinking. There's all these things that you could have included, and that's what this does. It just looks for obvious opportunities to describe the location, the weather, all what they're wearing, all these sorts of things, which are already defined in your lore book. So it's like a video game, If I was to say to you, in GTA San Andreas, CJ just walked it in the alleyway, you know what he's wearing, because it's part of his outfit at the beginning of the game. Anyway, so the quality of the output is high. All three reviewers place it significantly above the median for literary science fiction at draft stage. 2 of the 3 award 87. Identified limitations are consistent with known characteristics of generative systems. Fluency in technique with occasional failure to complete thematic and world-building architecture the technique implies. Revision targets section 6, attractable, do not require structural rethinking. Interesting. So I think I could fix this with an agent we already have called narrative inpainting, because what you effectively have is you have a hit list of things that were missing, and then you just feed that into the narrative inpainting. It will seek and destroy according to whatever programming you have. And when it comes to, but how does he know what to put there? Well, he just wrote the whole book. He's got it all in context, if you're smart about it. If not, then obviously you'd have to keep the bucket. I have something called narrative spittoon language, which is the NSL file which we save all of our stories, so you can make infinite stories basically. Once you have a good setup, you can basically just churn them out like Scooby-Doo, because sometimes that's what you are doing. Not being funny, but not everything gets done, just like image generation. How many images did you make? That one's not very good. You don't even save it, right? So it's interesting. So let's have a look. 3x is assessed by 3 independent reviewers. I would point out, by the way, that this book's already finished and I wrote the complete trilogy. This is like we're using the law book from a book I already finished to test my new system. That's all. So 3X is assessed by 3 independent reviewers under 3 distinct critical methodologies. A manuscript of uncommon formal ambition. I like that. Uncommon formal ambition. That executes most of what it attempts at a high level. This is starting to sound like one of my school reports. It has found a prose style that enacts its themes. It has built relationships through shared epistemic practice. It has constructed a world through sensory specificity. It has told a story about the transmission of knowledge by making the reader experience the transmission of knowledge. The composite score of 85 reflects a draft that is operating well above the median with a clear, tractable revision path. The 3 points of universal consensus cut the anthropological gloss, vary the body before mind pattern, and complete Sable's characterization are immediate improvements. The 2 reviewer targets square the dome against open questions, sharpen Marin's stakes, and reduce explanatory passages are medium-term revision work. The single reviewer targets 3x consequences, correction protocol, integration, Ren opacity, Daco's final grounding represent the longer view. The difference between a very strong draft and a finished manuscript at the level its ambitions demand. The light, as Isaac observed, is old, but it's still arriving, and the count is not closed. And that kind of, you know, when he starts using my in-law terminology to talk to me, I get like, I do like that. He starts talking to me like the ultimate super fan. Like you wouldn't know what this doesn't make sense unless you've read the book that we just wrote. By the way, it's like part of the law. They all have a funny language. You know, like in Battlestar Galactica, they say frack a lot because it's part of their language. It's a bit like that. They have ways of talking about time because they all have such a short lifespan. They have time slang because they're all running out, you know. So yeah, NSI 5 autonomous creative writing system. It's looking good. In case you just joined us and you missed everything, we were talking about the CARF skill for better and more complex characters, which can be used before on a law book. Yeah, before you even write your story, you can use it on there. Will AI have their own slang? Yes. I hope they call us oomies. As in, ooh, me. Ooh, me, worry. So, yeah, we were just looking at, because I've just recently made a plugin, which is Narrative Spittoon in version 4, which is a writer's plugin, writes books for you using just a law book, a single file, /command file. That's what it is. That's all it is. Obviously, it's built for my Narrative and Spittoon inversion system. You can find about 6 different repos, an MCP, skills, system prompts, a couple of web platforms running on API, all that good stuff. But we've also got Unified Narrative Operator skill, a narrative pacing operator skill. Okay, and then we put it all together in the agentic pipeline. So that's basically, I've been looking at the results. I've been looking at the results of this one. So we have the agentic pipeline. It will be going public soon. I'm just, yeah, you know what I mean? See, the thing is, guys, before I release anything, see, you want to release a book writing tool? Okay. Well, how many, did you test it? Because every time you test it, you have to write a full book. It's really funny. So, probably, you know, so I've got to write a few more books before I'm happy with it, basically, which is kind of funny to me, you know. But that aside, we got to write more books, and we were just looking at some of the results. So it is very good. It's very good. Like I said, it's very good. To only have 5 things you need to fix, that means it made 1 mistake per page. You know what I mean? Basically, it made 1 mistake per page, which is crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I think CARF did help, but it's kind of hard. See, I don't know, man. I feel like I did get a better score this time, but Isaac didn't seem to appreciate it. We got marked down on thematic depth. Incomplete world building, see? Do you know what I mean? So I might have to do it again. You know, just check that law book one more time and just make sure that it's actually complete, because I feel like maybe I might have... Yeah, we'll check it. But yeah, the idea is this is an agentic pipeline, so it actually runs the NSI 4 plugin, which is already out, and the Uno narrative enhancer, which expands pages, as we were talking earlier, deeper character work, sensory detail. And then we have the NPO narrative pacing operator, which is culling, does culling. Okay, because obviously sometimes AI can be like reading a slab of beef. It really needs to be cut down. It's too thick. But yeah, like I said, the stories that are coming out of it are okay. I've tried to make it simple, so all you need is that lore book. Now, there used to be, I think Narrative Splatoon in version 4 actually does come with a 20 questions interview. So if you don't even have a lore book, he'll go, what's your story about? And then he'll write it up for you in over 20 questions. So it's got that feature as well. But the whole point of doing it as skills and plugins is so that you can do it with more than Claude Code. Because Open Code does skills. I wouldn't be surprised if it does plugins. Because the weird thing about it, right, is if you're actually using a local setup, you don't upload it with the button in the UI on the desktop mode, although you can. You actually have to go into App Data Local Anthropic Claude, I think. It's got a really weird folder name. You go in there, and then there's a commands folder. Is that right? No, sorry, I tell a lie. It's just .claude, user folder yeah, it's your user folder, just .claude. You go in there and there's a commands folder, and you unzip plugins and skills. Go in there as folders. That's how you do it. But it's really funny. We were joking about this yesterday in the Discord, because we were asking Claude, hey Claude, how do you install the skills? Sorry, not the skills. How do you install the plugins? And he kept, every time you ask him, he would give you a completely different way of doing it that doesn't work. He was just making it up, man. And whenever that happens, you've got to chuckle, because he's so confident. He's like, yes, you've got to do this, and you've got to do... No. Yes, I know. Oh, yeah, good catch. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, now the other thing which I didn't show you, I showed you the super simple mode which proves it works. But the real way to do this is actually you write your own ending. You don't generate the end of your book, you write your own ending. And also, you don't use the default bucket, you use your own bucket. Because you've put your writers, you programmed your own ghostwriter based on your own style, right? By inverting all of your work, right? Right? Okay, so it actually has a bunch of additional switches that extend the functionality, so you can do total custom. So you can have my ending with my artifacts, so it's not using, and I have actually shown this as well multiple times. I mean, there's only so many times we can do it, right? I mean, if I go into the test study again and just have a look at one of them, let's see if I'm using standard bucket. Where's the NSL folder? Here we go, NSL. So if I go into ghostwriting style, that is the default ghostwriting style, okay? So this is the default template. It's just my basic template, which I recommend people like change it, you know? But this is good, it's good. It's actually based on the South Park because but therefore method, okay? Not and then, because but therefore. And then, so what we do is go to one of my other examples. You'll be able to see that. So there's going to be another one somewhere. Doop 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 doop. It's got to be under overview. Is Splatoon inversion? Yeah. So this is the original repo from many moons. And I think Moonbase... See, these are all additional... it's like an additional bucket to show you, oh yeah, you can make the bucket like this. I used to give out examples and stuff like that. So if you see how a Ghostwriter style guide, completely different. So this one is using Guy Ritchie, Brandon Thompson, and Hunter Thompson and Brandon Sanderson and Guy Ritchie. So it's like a simulacrum, or it's like a smorgasbord of 3 of my favorite writers. Okay. So we put all 3 of them together. Now, we don't use them all at once. We use them for specific things that I like them for. So obviously you need to kind of do that. But it would be a bit like making, say if you took 3 of your favourite musical artists and put them in a tribute band and made them do the thing they're good at, right? So it's like a dream team, fantasy ghostwriters team. That's what this is. It's something that we did last year again. And I've got a whole bunch of these too, for various different things. So this one obviously would give you a very unique kind of tale, I believe. Okay. Do you know what? I should probably rewrite Threeks and use my Cosmic Prankster setup, which is Cosmic Prankster is Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, and there was another, oh man, I'd have to double check it. I know it was Pratchett and Asimov. Yeah, it's Asimov, Pratchett, Adams. Another triple basically. So we had Asimov do all the technical stuff, and then we had Pratchett and do characterization, because he does good characters, and then we did the comedy of the world with Douglas Adams. So it's kind of interesting, like I say, what you can actually do. But what this does is offer the exact same things. If we actually go into the programming, I think it might actually be in the plugin saying that. Yeah, that's why I put the overrides in. Okay. I think we did it. All right. Now we're done talking about writing. Let's finish up. What is this? I've never seen that before in the whole time I've had GitHub. It looked like some kind of weird social network. So where's that trading thing? I want to show you that as my last. Sim broker dev, yeah? It looks pretty basic. I don't know if it's worth doing. No, I'm only joking. So how would I do this? Did we download it? Yes. Okay, so we're going to open it up. Let's just extract it. Okay. And I will just grab all of that and put it in here. Okay? Like that. There we go. So now we've got our big V to do our sim brokies. So how am I going to do that? Well, we've got Git, what do we call it? We've got the VS Code open. Okay, and we got Claude Code sit on the system. So I've got everything I need, right? So, if we can get rid of this, we can scroll this to the top. Say yes. There you go. That's everything you need. So you have the skills. You have the skills, you have the plugins, you have the Claude Code, right? What the heck is this? Claude Code has context of open files and selected lines. Changes thing. Control. Was it Control Alt K for reference files or lines in your input? I've never had to do that. Command Escape for quick launch. I mean, sure. I thought Command Escape was the start menu. Oh, Command, not Control. What? Command Escape? Oh, okay. Sure thing. So anyway, what are we doing? Yeah, so we've got this, and we were thinking, oh, do you reckon we could do 0, right? 0. Maybe we could get 0 bytes, and we could make 8-layer procedural deterministic whatever, and not have to worry about, you know, live stock market data, make it more engaging. That was what someone asked at the beginning of the show. So I thought, show you how to do that, because it doesn't take a minute. So we've opened up the source code for the app. Obviously, we already had the app. It's like a fake video. It's like a gamified stock trading thing, right? And so we thought, let's make it into something cool. So we're going to take 2 things. One of them is The Collector, which is a book I wrote. Where is it? Get the book. So let's just go here. And we'll say Collector. I think it might just come up. It might just come up if I'm lucky. Oh man, there's like 8 different collectors. Oh no. Oh wait, there it is. There it is. Collector. Here we go. We got it. Is it written? Did we already write it? We got the last page. A debt enslavement JSON. Good stuff. The Glamorgoons. They come from outer space to buy the Bitcoin. It's a silly story. We were being silly. So, do we have, which ghostwriting style do we have? Cosmic Prankster, Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett. Oh, I swapped out Asimov for Kenny Everett. If you know who that is, you know who that is. Okay. So, what I'm going to do then, obviously, is just basically just download this, right? So I'm going to have to download them all, because that's classic GitHub. Classic GitHub. When did I make the collector? Yesterday. Yeah, I made it yesterday. Yeah. Just like we made this thing yesterday. Here. Where is it? Let me move it. I'll move it. Wait. You see it? That's the webcam business, boys. You need to start making more stuff with webcam. Honestly, it's getting quicker, and all this stuff gets so quick. Like, you're talking stuff that used to take a minute per frame, it now takes like 200 ms. These are just things on my table I'm moving around, yeah? Anyway, that would be vidvec-live at scuffedepot.com. Find the links in the description. So we should have downloaded this now. So where is it? Johnson's Narrative Bouquets. So we're going to open this one up and grab the collector from inside there. Where is it? There it is. Get the collector. I'll take the whole folder, right? And put it in the VS Code, in its own folder, just like that. So now I've got the collector. Okay, so that's part 1, right? So we've got law. Now, what's the next thing? Probably going to need to make sure that our Claude code actually has the skill that we want to use, right? This is what I was talking about earlier. So, you know, it's all very well and good, all this skills and stuff, but no one ever tells you where to put stuff, and Claude doesn't know. He keeps on telling you something different every time. It's the one thing he's bad at, is explaining how to use his own stuff. Sometimes he's really good at it, but the newer the feature, the ropier it gets. So, like I said yesterday, we were having a good one. He was like, oh yeah, you just do this. And it's like, that command doesn't exist. Claude. So we go to Windows, Users, your username, and then .claude. And then inside the commands folder, oh great, there's no commands folder. There's a plugins folder online. But you can't put them in there. You have to put them in the commands folder. Does that mean he's got that? It means he hasn't got any online. Okay, so create the commands folder. Yeah. Create the commands folder. There we go. And then I want to unzip the skill that I want to use in there as a folder, right? Because skills are actually zip files. So let's get 0 bytes. I wonder what else we could use to. What else could we use? I got so many of these. Go to repos. I got 10 of these. Yeah, that one. I'll take that one. I'll take this one. We actually only need that one. We only need the dot skill. That has everything. So we open that up. Come on. There. If I unzip this, and I'll have to do it with 7-zip, because it's not .zip, and Windows is clever like that. So then inside we have the dot skill. We have the skill, right? So if I take that folder and put it into the other folder, there we go, into the .claude /command/ 0 bytes, and then inside that the skill.md for 0 bytes. Show you that. Flashbang. Do you know what's funny though? Did you just crash? You crashed. Try that again with like software that doesn't suck. Notepad. Can Notepad handle the truth? So 0 byte system. Remember I was telling you earlier about the only real difference between a skill and one of my anything I've done previously was the front matter. This is what I was talking about at the top here. So it's -- name 0 bytes, description. Remember, this has to be less than 1024 characters. And then, to my knowledge, there should be a license as well, but I guess that's optional because I get away with not doing it. And then -- So the -- that is what they call YAML front matter for anybody that cares. But essentially, it just gives a name and a description. And what it means is that Claude doesn't have to read the whole thing necessarily. He can just read the front matter of the file in like, what do they call it? Head 1000 or something. Which is much more efficient because it doesn't load the whole file, makes it quicker. Yeah. And obviously if he decides he does need to use this skill, he can load the whole file and do all of the stuff. Alright? The main thing with the 0 bytes is it's using XX hash rather than random, because random is crap. Alright. That's pretty much it. It's position as seed methodology. So my idea is maybe we can make a better simulated stock market while also making it totally fictional with that science fiction twist. So then you go from having a fake stock market training tool to a science fiction video game with jokes, right? So that's what we're aiming for. So hash is 0, 1, iteration is 0n. The universe springs complete from coordinates, and 0 bytes stores infinity. That's what this skill does. Cool. So now we've got the 0 byte skill installed, I should be able to check it is actually installed. So let's get the Claude thing open here, and I'm going to say, right, hello world. Right, hello world. Right, hello world.html. Using the 0 byte skill. This is so silly, but it's not actually. It's so I can prove the skill is actually installed and working, right? So using the 0 byte skill, because obviously if he says what 0 byte skill, we got a problem, and I can just cancel it when he does something. You know, I don't see it. Hang on, that is a problem. I'm glad I did it now. Quit. Close the terminal. Open the terminal. I need to make sure that he's actually not gaslighting me again. High effort, medium effort. Yeah, high effort. Always high effort. To do the hello world at HTML. There we go. He just needed resetting, guys. You know how you have to close the terminal, reopen the terminal? That's all it was. Do you know what? I'm gonna let him do it. I'm going to let him do it. Okay, now while he's doing it, we're going to come up with the real prompt. So the real prompt is, I'm going to start writing it in Notepad because he's going to get in my way. 2 secs. Yes. What the heck's that? Oh. Right then, so we'll go like this. So we used, oh wait, in fact I don't even need to do that. Just say link the file, copy that there, put that there, space, and API connection plan. Yeah, we can't do that. Okay, so that's fine. Alright, beautiful. Okay, and then I need my tin, what is it? Tins. I've got like a line which I can show you here, which is like I call it universal tins. Once you have the tins skill, well, that's the point. I'm gonna need the tins skill. Give me more help. So many side quests tonight. Download the tins skill. Unzip the tins skill. Jeez. Side quest city. Right click. Where is it? Where is it? Show more options because Windows is stupid now. There you go. Okay, in we go. What we got here? Good, we've got some references. That's an advanced one. So take that back over here. Oh no, not here. No. We want to put it in the commands folder. No. Oh, wait, here we go. Yeah, right, cool. Put that there. Good. I'll need to restart. See, I got to restart it again, but yes, you can make that. Okay, so now I've got the 0 bytes and the tins, because I just remembered I'm going to need the tins. So we're going to say universal. Can he find it? Universal. Unified. No. Citation. Unified citation. Right. Now down here somewhere. Universal tins. There it is. So we can write these detailed instructions inside a new markdown artifact named task name plan using the tin skill, including all steps and code required to complete the implementation. That right there might be the most valuable prompt. I appreciate you can write this prompt in different ways, but I'm just saying this one is the most valuable prompt. I put this at the end of just about everything I do commercially, and it always gives me good results. The models get better, my output gets better, because it's a future-proofing system, right? As long as the models keep getting better, the outputs will keep getting better. And all you have to do is explain what you want, followed by this. Obviously, there are some additional bits and pieces, but I know how to do that, so just ask me. Other than that, I will be taking a copy of this and I will be putting it at the end of my prompts. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm putting it at the end. Now, I've always said to everybody I teach, it's who, what, when, where, why. You might not need them all, so I choose 3. So this is the what, this is the how. I guess you could do a when or a why if you want. So sim broker plan, the implementation plan, which was completed before, which was completed already. Okay, right. And so then in between, like hamburger style, I'm just going to say the stuff I want to say. So I'll say we will write detailed instructions. We will write detailed instructions inside. wait. Detailed instructions which will adapt this game for the themes described in the book. Alright, and then I got to go back over here and get the thing because I need the link to the book. So collector, copy path like that. Collector, which this game will be based upon. All, what is it? All terms and currency types must match the law from the narrative, and it's intergalactic finance. So silly. Intergalactic finance. That's right. This is a whole new market. Okay, so go to there. This game will be ablated. Okay, all terms and currencies might start with that. Okay, so I'll be like, assess the narrative and the code base before writing any instructions. So we don't use the 0 bytes thing yet. I make the tins first. Well, it's like a choice, really. I could do tins first or tins second. I find if I do tins first and then do 0 on it, that's better than doing 0 and then making a tins of that. But, I'm sure it'll work the other way round for some particular reason, so I'm not going to say it doesn't work. I'm sure it does. I just found that in the ways I use it, it works best that way around. So, I don't know. It's like jam or peanut butter first. Which one? Do you put the peanut butter or the jam first? Which one? They're both in the sandwich. So obviously we're going to use semantic naming for the tins skill, for the tins plan name, because that does help guide the process. So if we're going to say, I'll say GBTC broker. There we go. GBTC broker game plan. There we go. That should do it. Copy that. Bring it back. And yeah, we'll do that. Wait. It's funny. I should probably just... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're just doing an example right now. So yeah. And then what that will do is it will make me a video game themed version of the thing. Now, for example, let's say you had a pinball game, right? You had a pinball game. Well, it wouldn't be very difficult with a little bit of Nano Banana, right? And some JSON-driven elements. It wouldn't be very difficult to just turn it into a different franchise, would it? So, you know, reskin, new labels, it's a new pinball machine. In fact, maybe we should do pinball machine. Someone was saying we should do pinball machine. I think a pinball machine might be quite fun. I mean, damn, like, I can remember installing a Windows XP Space Pinball, Space Cadet Pinball or something. It's still good. It's still good. It's been 30 years. It's still good. I think somebody cracked it or did something to it so that you could install it on Windows 10 or 11, like the OG Space Pinball arcade game. It's actually addictive. I always wondered if it actually did use 3D or if it was just very clever 2D. I never really found out. Too busy doing other stuff, I guess. But yeah, this will give us a TINS plan. The TINS plan can be written. You can just drop it in the system prompt for Gemini, and you can do it there. You can drop it into the chat with GPT. He'll do it there. Drop it into a Lovable. Start the conversation in a Lovable. You know, any of these app builders. That's the nice thing about TINS. And also, it doesn't just make software. I've used TINS to do all kinds of stuff. Tins is like a one-stop Swiss Army knife for planning. That's what it is. He's a planning methodology. You can find out more information at thereisnosource.com. Because there is no source in 2026. So someone say, oh, nice source code you got there. Did you make it with Claude? Holographic core, yeah, true. Holographic tutor works on source code too. It's true. See, the funniest thing is, we were always doing narrative. We were writing stories, and we realized that the stories we were writing, the tools we were using to write the stories, were actually able to fix code. So I wrote it started with something called the Golden Shadow Enhancement Agent, where I wanted to have an agent look at a story and find unresolved plot threads that could be finished but weren't, right? And I wanted the agent to like show me bits in my stories where I had forgotten to finish that plot line, yeah? And it turns out that when I said, hey, Golden Shadow, rewrite yourself to be a for code instead of narrative. He was like, okay. He rewrote his own brain, and then I had the Golden Shadow code agent. Instead of the narrative agent, it was a code agent now. And then I'd apply it to code, and he'd be like, oh yeah, you've got all these features, you could just have them. Do you want them? I'll add them now. I was like, go for it, mate. And before you knew it, he had just like upgraded everything. I was like, wait. And this was probably last summer. You can look up the date, actually, Golden Shadow. Let's have a look. I'm sure it's in one of these prompts. Golden Shadow Restoration was last year. I don't even know what last year is. Can I get a date? Can I get a date? Is there a commit? Last year, it says. Can I get a date beyond last year? Can we get, like a March the 12th? No way. It's nearly a year to the day, dude. It's nearly a year ago. A year and a week and a bit. How about that? So this was the Golden Shadow prose agent. He's just a system prompt, right? It does exactly what I said. Characters mentioned, not developed. Plot hooks introduced, not followed. Settings described, not fully explored. Thematic elements that appear briefly but could be central. Symbolic imagery with unexpanded significance. Background events with untapped dramatic potential. Implied relationships or conflicts left unexamined. And more, and more, and more, right? So what we did was we turned this into a coding agent. I'm trying to remember where was the coding agent published. Don't remember. Somewhere. It's somewhere. So this is all writing stuff. It'll be an LLM. Yeah, that's the other very important thing. I collect a lot of my stuff in this repo. It's like one of the oldest ones. A lot of my agents are in here. There he is, Golden Shadow code. So what was the date on that? How long did it take me to do that? March. The next day? The same day. In my head, it took me longer than that. What? Hang on. I did it on the same day? I think I must have just uploaded it on the same day, guys. There's no way. What that means is that it's older than that, and I just took time to upload them, which is probably about right. I wasn't quite as strict with uploading things immediately. Yeah. March 12th, 2025, first restoration. Yes, we don't know. It was uploaded about a year ago. And according to this, they were both done at the same time. So yeah. But yeah, that was because we did find out that the tutor worked on code, not just writing. You're right, Fernicar. Thank you for the reminder, mate, because it is true. The writing tools worked on story, and then we started going, hang on a minute, he's just translating. He's just translating. He doesn't care if it's a code or a story or what. And it's true, because they are transformers. So it makes sense that that's how it would work. But it was just surprising to see it be that abstract. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously Python code is not a story, but we've proven that you can turn Python into a story. Because you can say you are a packet of data going through the network, or you are a text file being ingested by a database. And tell me exactly from your point of view what happened to you by the time I downloaded you to my computer. And he'll tell you exactly how he went through all these different things and went across all around the back end and all this stuff you're not supposed to know. It's quite funny. He'll tell you all the details. Oh, I did all this. Which is, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It doesn't prove a thing. It's just very good understanding of what is going on there, but and illustrating it in a sort of immersive way, but it's not real. It's not real. You know what I mean? It's like the life of a ping pong ball. We've spoken about this on the Discord a bunch. I think that's pretty much it though, guys. I think after that, you know, we've looked at the new book, we've done a little workflow here, made some cool we got anything here? Look, go away. Okay, how are we doing? You can't see it. That's better. Oh look, he's written it. So tin spec 1, complexity high, priority high, platform web language, TypeScript. The moment you realised the data had been talking with some bad influence friends. Okay, so here we are. The plan document has been written. 20 detailed steps transforming SIM broker into GBTC broker, all grounded in the collector's narrative lore. Step 1, master terminology mapping, 40 term replacements across all files. Step 2, 50 lore accurate tradable instruments across 7 on-chain divisions, replacing the S&P 500, including tickers like ONK, Fold, Knie, Kill, Emperor, and Meme, each with lore description. The Glamorgoon terminal theme, void black, alien green, purple accent, geometric hexagonal background, glitch animations. Steps 411, component by component adaptation, header, ticker tape, sidebar, chart, order panel, right panel, circuit breakers and lobby. New features, the collector narrator system with 60 context triggered dialogue scenes in his exact voice, mathematical precision, synthetic empathy, temporal slippage. And step 13, procedural outernet dispatches, lore accurate fake news headlines. And we have all the different things, all the lore terms, preservation, all game mechanics, order engine, everything's the same. So forget the 0 bytes for a second. I wanted to actually do this first. So we'll say we can begin completion of the paste. He's not pasting. He's not pasting when I paste him. I'll paste him. He's still not pasting. There we go. That's better. Right click works. Okay. Implementation plan. Okay, and as long as we're happy with the spelling, off it goes. Very simple. All your meme belong to us. That's right. They showed up to take the meme coins. We're meme collectors from outer space. We don't want your people. We don't want your resources. We just want your meme coins. You don't mind, right? And then they blow out the entire UK market through leverage somehow. That's the whole. Right. So anyway, enough mucking about. That was fun. So we can go in completion of the thing. So he's going to go ahead and change my game into the GBTC broker plan, right? And then once it's finished, I'll get him to, I'll say, assess the code base. Then write recommendations on how I can improve the what do you call it? Simulation. The simulation using 0 byte skill. That's it. He will read the code base. He will think about how he can do the deterministic procedural and then off you go. He'll give me a plan. I can integrate. I can do the same as what I just did. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. I'll say, we can begin completion of the... And I've said this before to people. So we can, not can we. We can is an interrogation technique. Can we is a question. Begin. We're starting, right? Completion. I want you to finish. Every word has a meaning. It's not just there for fun, you know? Even though it is fun. So we can begin completion. And then we can begin completion of what? Well, quote, name of plan. So then that's the file we're talking about, right? But what is that file that we're talking about? So then I just write implementation plan at the end, just to be double sure. So there's no ambiguity. It's precise. All the words there have meaning. You know, you could argue of the doesn't really have meaning, but come on, man, it's grammar. Sometimes you can't just make things unnecessarily short, right? Claude is now exploring and designing an implementation approach. I now have, look at him, I have complete knowledge of every file, import and string literal. Let me also verify the local storage key naming and the full build function in SP500 constituents. I think making it fictional is actually a pretty good move because, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really care. Like, as long as I could have something that looked right. Like, do you know what? Oh, it's such a shame. I just had a thought, you know. Like, if you could make it pick a random date. So, you know, like every time you put the market simulator on, it would like give you a random date. And it would be like, oh, for the next 5 minutes, you've got to make the right calls. Yeah. So then it doesn't give you the time to just look it up. But it's not live. So you could use historic data to run the game. Do you see what I mean? So then you don't need it live because you're playing 1975 and then 5 minutes later it's 1988 and you're just supposed to like make the decision on the spot. That's the game, you know? And then that way you get around because you don't need it to be live data. And also you could pre-pick dates and keep that data for that part of the game. So it's like, oh, now it's 1988, now it's 1992, now it's 2004. And it's sort of like you're going to parts of snapshots in time where we know what all the numbers were and what they were going to do. But you don't let the player be there for long enough that they could like cheat by just looking it up on their phone. Oh, what was the price in this date? Because by the time they've looked it up, the time has run out. So you just have to make a gut decision, right? And that would be the game, wouldn't it? It would be like, oh. So, you know, in the game, you get given infinite money, but you have to make the right call. And then you get a win-loss rate. That's your score. So it doesn't even matter how much money or what it was or when it was. None of that matters. What matters is the thrill of basically the coin flip. Because obviously in your mind, it's a binary decision, right? So you could either just be casual and just pick one and like a scratch card type experience, or you could like really get into it and be like one of those GeoIP guys and you just know exactly where you are from one screenshot, you know. So it's interesting. But then taking it away from reality to a totally fictional thing, that's also nice. Whoa, I don't care if 55%, if I need to use 100%, I want 100% context. He's like, Claude just said, oh man, I'm at 55% context. Do you mind me clearing it? I'm like, no. You can clear the context when you're finished, mate. All right. I think we went a little bit over time there, but it's all good. I enjoy it. Thank you very much for joining me on this fine evening, chaps. We'll be back next Sunday. As always, we're hanging out in the Discord most evenings, so feel free to check in and say hello. I'm at the moment on my sort of like Uber working for cool people phase. So as long as they keep paying me, you'll be seeing me on Sundays. But I do have a bunch of stuff in the works for tutorials and shorts. Yo, Twig and Berries! Thank you very much. Give us a wave. Give us a wave, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate you all coming along and hanging out. See you next Sunday. Enjoy your week.